How's it going, folks? So, you'll have to excuse me. My sinuses are kind of plugged up right now. I've had a cold for a few days. Anyhow, I was just thinking. Um, so I did a market. Was it last Saturday? Yeah, that's why I have a cold. It was Friday and Saturday of last week, so almost a week ago. And uh, as I walked through each of the booths, uh, everyone told me the same thing. Well, first off, I told them they weren't charging enough. There was a lady that had quilts there, and she was only charging $20 for them. A quilt, lots of time and effort goes into a quilt. This isn't China-made crap. This is handmade goods. Anyhow, there was that lady. There were a few others, and each one told me the same thing. I can't charge higher prices because no one will buy it. And that's my sentiments exactly with a lot of things. Well, most of my stuff, um, I don't want to charge too high of prices because I have morals. Like, I believe that, uh, like, well, it's not so much what I believe, it's that I want my stuff in everyone's house. I want something that I make inside of everyone's house, whether that's a $5 item or a $500 item or a $5,000 item. I haven't made one of those yet, so yeah. I've made a couple grand item. That's the lion and the lamb. Anyhow, so there's that, and I was just thinking, you know, if no one buys art, then art dies. There's no point to art if no one buys it. So at the market, each of the vendors said that people will walk in, look at something, say, "Ooh, that's pretty," and then walk out. And I get that too. That happens to me all the time. And you know what? That's a sad reality that we're currently living in. Hopefully it goes away. But um, like that just got me thinking, like if everyone does that, if no one buys anything from any artist of any kind, that's pottery, quilts, uh, heck, just a normal seamstress, painting, carving, any kind of art. If no one buys it, artists have to get normal jobs. And when artists have to get normal jobs, they give up on themselves, they give up on art. And so they stop making art, art dies. And all those things that you thought were beautiful to look at, they go away. You don't have anything beautiful to look at made by artists anymore because you wouldn't truly appreciate it by spending your money on it. I'm not saying you have to spend your money on me to appreciate what I do for a living. I appreciate it when someone comes up to me and says, "Oh wow, this is so cool," or whatnot, or just like I'm this is my storage unit right there, and Anyhow, some lady just walked in here to get to her storage unit, asked me if I made these, and complimented me on them. And I love that, not to be full of myself, but to, like, I appreciate people appreciating what I do. So anyhow, if no one buys it, then I stop making it. And if I stop making it, then there's nothing to appreciate anymore. I mean, like, sure, my stuff that I have made in the past will still be out there, but I'll stop making stuff. Like here recently, I almost gave up on myself. I felt so useless because I got kicked out of where I was parking to sleep, which was here, right in front of my other unit. I have 2 units. Anyhow, I got kicked out of here. I found out my logs were stolen a couple of days later. And then, what was it? Yeah, it was the next day. I was kicked out of the only place I sell in town. I felt useless. I felt like nobody wanted my art. Now, was that necessarily true? No. It's obvious that it wasn't true because I made like $500 that next week, so which was last week. Time flies when you're not paying attention. So anyhow, I could have just as easily given up. My pastor keeps telling me to get a job, a normal job. Everyone kind of discounts what I do for a living and says that, oh, this is just a hobby. Oh, you're just doing this to have fun in your spare time. You need to get a normal job. I don't want a normal job. First off, I didn't like being miserable when I had a normal job 2 years ago. And I don't want to go back to that. So I'm not going to go back to that. Also, this isn't a hobby. It used to be. I used to do this for fun. I used to give away things all the time. And anyhow, like that was a hobby. That was me doing it for fun. Now I do it for money. Now I do it for work. And like people say that I do this in my free time. I don't have free time because I'm doing this. I don't have time for anything. Like, I can stop what I'm doing and people say that, oh, well, that's because it's just a hobby. No, that's because I make excuses to allow people to kind of push me around, which I need to stop doing. But when someone says that they need me or that they want my help, I try and give them my help, whether I have time or not. Now, when people are abusing that, then I'm not going to help them. Like my dad one time, I was parking at my aunt's, which is where my grandpa's shop is at, which is now my dad's shop. Anyhow, he had some scaffold. Well, not he, but my aunt had some scaffold that needed to be moved, and I was aware of that. They said that someone was coming to buy it later that week. And I was like, okay, I can do that, schedule it ahead of time, that's fine. So I went out to go carve. Halfway out to go carve, I get a phone call. I didn't pick it up because I don't answer my phone when I'm driving. I get out to go carve, call my dad back. He says they want the scaffold moved now. And so I get in my truck and I'm heading back into town. And he calls me again, and this time I pick up while I'm driving. And he says they didn't need me. And I'm like, well, make up your mind. I don't want to help you now. And I'm pissed, because you're making me lose all this time. So it's things like that, like I don't have all the free time in the world. Some people think I do. Because I'm self-employed, that doesn't mean that I don't do anything, So, anyhow, I didn't mean for this to turn into a rant, but, well, it kind of was to begin with. But back to that main point is, if you don't buy art, art dies. If you don't appreciate art with your money, artists stop creating art for you to appreciate with your eyes. So, yeah, that's all. Thanks for looking. God bless.